Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Cry for a land that's gone and polluted. Cry for a people scattered uprooted. Serve. And I need to see you as chattel. Serve. In the silent war for the country's soul.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who has some killer new music. And boy, from what I was reading, a lot of people were waiting for this, and so I'm very excited to bring on with us John from Judicator. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. So one thing I do love that's cool, as I've been into metal since like the late 70s when I was a kid, and usually the power metal bands that you would think of always came from Europe, and now you're an American power metal band that's going to Europe.
Yeah, very happy about that. That's been a big goal of ours. So to finally have that opportunity, thanks to the crew at Epic Fest, we are just over the moon happy about it.
How did that happen anyway? Because, you know, European festivals, pun intended, are epic.
Yeah. Really, it's just as simple as one day I got an email from one of the people who runs Epic Fest. And in that email, he expressed, introduced himself and expressed his interest in getting Judicator to come over and perform. But he put an asterisk with all of that, which was, I know that you might not be able to do this because it's a big ask and we probably can't pay you exactly what, you might need to get over here. That being said, it's the biggest guarantee that we've been offered so far in our music career. So I was like, actually, this has been a big enough goal. We really want to do it. He said that it was as simple as him and the other guy who runs Epic Fest were just sitting around talking about who they would like to invite, their sort of dream list, and Judicator was on there. So they took their shot, and we were very happy to answer the call.
That is so cool. And, I go and I do radio coverage at festivals all over the US, UK, Europe, and it is a different animal over there. Like, even the way a lot of times you hear how artists are treated. Like, they're treated the way they're supposed to be treated. Press are treated the way they're supposed to be treated. So it's pretty cool to hear a story like that, because I find that even with the big festivals, it still is like kind of, I don't know how you would describe it, localized acting, like you said, it's two people, and opposed to like this big corporate thing that's handling everything. It's basically just people that really have a love for the music and a love for the whole life of a festival.
Yeah, and the guys who run Epic Fest have done a tremendous job so far. I've been following Epic Fest for the few years that it has been operating, and they have taken it from relatively small to it's really growing now. And I think they have a very unique and resonant vision. I think a lot of people are really into what they're offering.
That's pretty cool. I love it. And obviously that means they're into you because they're offering you there. So there you go. Yeah. So let's talk about the new album, Concord. And I got to watch the video for Concord, and it was pretty badass.
Yeah, thank you. We're very fortunate. I went to film school with a buddy of mine who now works for a production house, and he really enjoys making music videos. So I give him the opportunity to flex his muscles in that regard. So we had a blast making this, and we have another video coming out March 7th. So there's more to come. But yeah, that was a fun video to shoot. We shot it in my uncle's barn.
Nice.
And we brought Nikki Rowe from Aeons Enthroned and Rebels Ghost. We brought her out from California to do some guest vocals in this song. And she has a unique and fun role in the next music video as well.
Nice. See, I love that's how it is today. Like, I find that so often, artists, it's like one big happy family. Like, everybody's making these guest appearances on other bands' songs, and I think it's pretty cool. It's showing the unity in the family of metal and rock.
Yeah, that's one thing also that has been very awesome in the metal community is, like you said, there's a lot of cross-contamination. Mm-hmm. And I've just been so blessed to have worked with so many really talented and awesome people.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the new album from your point of view and how it's different from stuff you've done in the past and, just the whole viewpoint of it.
So Concord is not like some of the other concept albums we've done, which is to say, there's a point A and a point Z, and this happens and this happens and this character and that event. This is more, it is a concept album, I guess you could say, but it's all just a smattering of songs that deal with the American West, the Wild West, and maybe the West in general. So there's a lot of stuff on there, like we cover Wovoka, the Paiute prophet who started the ghost dance. We have a song about like the Homestead Act, a song about Bass Reeves, the first Black U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi, if I remember right. He's a very interesting character. And then we have some songs basically like commenting on where we are at in general as a people in America, I guess you could say. And the last thing I would say that I think is kind of funny and interesting for me is I was studying abroad in Germany back in 2014, and I was there for like over a month. I had been there a while, and I think I was starting to get homesick, and I found myself just fantasizing about Wyoming, the Sawtooth Mountains, the beautiful desert of Nevada. And I was like, this is so strange. Like, for as much as I love Germany and the German people and the German culture and food and music, I think I'm just a red, white, and blue American deep down inside.
Nice.
And I just can't help but there's a lot of love in my heart for the American West. So, and that touches on media too. I mean, in the album, we have a song about the movie 3:10 to Yuma. So, and fun fact too, my name is John Wayne Yelland. So, yeah, my dad was a big fan of Westerns. And so, yeah, I think this album, broadly speaking, could be described as a love letter to the American West.
Well, what's funny about that is because when I was a kid, my dad used to watch all those Westerns and it bored me to death when I was a kid. But now, like, you pull up one of these like networks and the streaming that has that old stuff. I've watched some of it and like get hooked on it. It's pretty wild, the different perspective. And I think that's what we find too as people in general is like we may not understand our parents till we get to the place that they're at where we're not understanding them. Yeah,
and I think I have no idea what I'm talking about here, but in my experience, my experience is similar to yours, where my dad grew up watching I grew up with like my dad putting on True Grit and The Shootist and all of these other, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And to me, it was always just like, can we please watch Cartoon Network or something?
Right.
And but the older I've gotten, I speculate. I wonder if there's something about Westerns that is just more that resonates more with mature audiences.
It's probably what it is, really, or even kind of getting it. Like, what's cool about it? I can't remember who it was, but I saw somebody being interviewed, and they talked about the old Western movies, and you never saw blood ever.
Ah, yeah.
And I never thought of that. And so, like, when I heard that, I put one on. I'm like, oh man, she's right. It's like it was all like pretty fake but realistic without having the real blood and gore.
Yeah. So, I mean, you might say there's something that, I don't know, can touch all audiences or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. And, it is to your point too. It's funny because I travel all over the world, and there's times where I felt like, oh, I'd like to live here, I'd like to live there, but then there's times when I'm back here and I think, wow, like as many people do, travel all over the world to see these cool things. And we just have so many of them here in the United States. But we take it for granted because it's here. Even if it's on the other side of the country, it's like, we could always go there. But if you road trip this country, there's so much cool stuff you can see.
Oh yeah, I mean the U.S. is huge.
Yeah.
Germany, for example, is about the size of Montana, if I remember right.
Right.
So yeah, I mean you go from east to west coast, and there's a huge variety of cultures and dialects, or ways of talking, all that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and upbringing, and like to me, all the states in the United States are like all the countries in Europe. That's the way it's like to me.
That was one interesting thing to me, is when I did this study abroad thing, I would encounter other Americans, and when they were asked by Europeans where they're from, they would normally not say the United States. They would say, "Oh, from Colorado." And sometimes the Europeans would get it, and sometimes they would be like, "Where?"
Exactly.
But it's just interesting to me that, like, to what you were saying, most people from the U.S. identify as Utah or Californian or a New Yorker, that kind of thing.
100%. It's funny you said that, because I think about it. I'm the same way. I think we're all the same way. If somebody asks, "Oh, where are you from?" you say your state. You don't really say the country. Whereas there, they say the country.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So that's pretty cool. And I also, to the point of what I was saying in the very beginning, I love that you're talking about U.S. history, American history, because a lot of power metal from Europe, they're talking about the European history. So it just makes sense. And we have lots of stories. We may be a young country, but we have a lot of stories to tell. And I think that's what's really cool about your music.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting take too, because when we listen to European bands who talk about Viking history or British history, whatever, like we love that, and we celebrate it, and we participate in it. So yeah, I'm very happy to put something forward about, like, here's what's badass about American history, or here's what's awesome about the American West. The cowboy is mythical in a sense.
Yeah.
The Europeans have knights in shimmering armor, and we have cowboys. So
right. And it does take going somewhere else sometimes to appreciate where you're at.
Yes. Absolutely.
So how do people reach out to you guys on socials? How do they pre-save the album? How do they check out all your tour dates, buy your merch? Because that's the most important, because bands don't survive today without merch. So give them all the details.
Well, I would say visit whatever your social media platform of choice is. We're probably there: Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever. We have a presence on YouTube. We are on TikTok, but not as much. We should probably change that, come to think of it. But yeah, find us on social media and pre-order the album. It's a hoot, and there are a lot of interesting and fun things that lie in store for you.
Nice. And is there anything else you want to share with everybody about anything going on in 2025 that we haven't touched on yet?
We'll be performing at Epic Fest, like I said, which will be our first European performance ever. We're very grateful for that opportunity. We'll be performing for a full hour, and we'll be wrapping up the entire festival. We'll be the last band of the festival. Aside from that, we'll be performing another international date, an international festival. I shouldn't say it yet, but if you're in Canada, then keep your eyes peeled, because we'll be going back to Canada in 2025 as well.
Nice. One of my co-hosts will be very excited about that because she's
Good.
Canadian.
Where does she live?
Up in Calgary, Alberta.
Maybe I'll see her then because that's not too far from where we're playing.
Nice. I love it. And how far is Epic Fest from Copenhagen?
If I remember right, Epic Fest is in a town called Roskilde, which is about a 20 or 30-minute train ride. So if you live in Copenhagen, it's just a hop and a skip away.
And I love Copenhagen. It's one of my favorite places on this planet.
I've never been, but I'm very excited about the opportunity.
You'll have fun. It's going to be a great place, and you're going to have a great set. And it says a lot, too, that you're doing an hour set because a lot of times at a festival, that's not the case. So I love it.
Yeah, we're gobsmacked and just over the moon. Super excited about it.
Very cool. Well, great way to do 2025. Love the new music. Everybody's got to check it out. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.